Yeah, are able to see, right? Sorry.
Yes, Shrikant, you can see.
Yeah. So we discussed yesterday something related to exception handling, right? Exception handling. So we discussed one simple program. So why we need to handle that exception and what is an exception we discussed in yesterday's class. So if we can see that particular class, so here we created two variables. So one is yes and another one is name. And if we are not properly handling that exception in line number 13, we were getting some exception. So because of that, we are handling that particular exception. If I am not handling that exception, what happened? What happened if I am not handling
Abnormal,
that exception? Exactly.
abnormal
So
termination of the program.
exactly. So it will be going to abnormal termination of the particular program. But what we need to achieve by handling that exception means we need to achieve that proper termination, or you can say graceful termination of the program. So that is what we'll be going to achieve in exception handling. Okay. So what we'll be going to today exactly is the second part, we can say, that is types of exceptions. Types of exceptions. Okay. And yesterday we discussed something like object is a class. Object is a superclass for all the classes. Yes, right? So under that object, what was the, see, under that object, what
Through
was the class?
exception, throwable
Throwable.
under we have
Exactly.
exception.
Yes, exactly. Under object, we will be having throwable class. The throwable class is from Java dot I mean Java dot lang
Learn.
package. Okay, Java dot lang package. We are having throwable. Under throwable, we'll be having two classes. So we can say object is a grandfather and throwable is a father, and exception and errors are brothers, we can say. Exceptions, exception and errors are brother, we can say. So here we are discussing exception handling, and I will tell you what is an error and where we'll be getting that error. I'll tell you the differences between exception and error in the next class. So here we are discussing today, that is types of exception. So before going to that, I'm closing all windows. So Java API need to go here. So in the Java API, if you can see, Control F, Java dot lang package. Here I am going. So that is Java dot lang package. So there, what is the class? Throwable. Throwable is the class. So throwable is the class. Under throwable, just now we discussed, there are two sons for throwable. That is, one is exception and another one is error. Right. So error and exception. So if I am clicking exception, so exception is also a class. Exception is also a class. Throwable is also a class. Object is also a class. So under exception, you have multiple classes. That multiple classes, they divided into two types. So they divided into two types. So can you please go on mute if possible? So types of exception. The types of exceptions, one is checked exceptions and another one is unchecked exception. Unchecked. Okay. So checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions, we can say. Okay, there are two types of exceptions. One is checked exceptions and another one is unchecked exceptions. So here you can see all checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions from under this particular exception class. So here, what are unchecked and what are checked? How can we know that? So there is a class called runtime exception. So hope you could able to see that. So there is a runtime exception here. All runtime exception classes. Again, this is the child class of exception. This runtime exception we am taking here. Under runtime exception, you will be having these many classes. So all runtime exceptions, you can say, all runtime exceptions, you can say unchecked exceptions. Okay. All runtime exceptions exception. You can say all runtime exceptions. You can say unchecked exceptions, right? So other than that runtime exception, whatever you have here, those are called checked exceptions. So other than runtime exception, other than runtime exception, you can say those all are called checked exceptions. So the meaning of checked exceptions means what? The meaning of checked exceptions means what? So,
Exceptions which are handled.
uh-huh, no.
Uh,
So, okay,
okay.
I'll tell you. So checked means compiler is checking for you. Those are called checked exception. Compiler is not checking for you and you will be getting at the runtime. Those are called unchecked exception. So now we'll be going to discuss unchecked exceptions first and I'll come to checked exceptions for you. So what compiler is not checking for you? In yesterday's class, if you have seen that string null pointer exception, is compiler is saying anything for you? No, compiler didn't tell anything to me. While running the program, I was getting runtime exception and it was saying that null pointer exception for me, right? So that null pointer exception, we can say that null pointer exception. So here we'll be going to discuss new program that is unchecked exception, unchecked exception. Okay, unchecked exception demo. So here we'll be going with some examples. Those are nothing but, so you tell me system.out.println of system.println of some values I'll be taking. Here I'll be taking some values, something like, so I'll be taking static value only. So int a equal to some 100, some static int b. I'm taking like this. Okay, but I'm not giving any value for the b. So if I'm not giving any value for b, what happened? What will be going to store in the b? What will be going to store in the b? Hello?
0.
Exactly, 0. So because it's a global variable and it is a
Static.
it's a
Static and global.
static and
Yeah.
anything. It's a primitive data types in the class level. So class level primitive data, the default values will be going to store. So if I'm not giving anything here, it will be going to store as a 0. Now I'm trying to I'm trying to calculate some values for that particular thing. So I'll be taking another variable that is static int c. Static int c I'm taking. So here c equal to a by b I'm doing. Okay, c equal to a by b I'm doing. So whenever I'm trying to do a by b, what will be what will be getting? So for example, here I'll be saying that 5. For example, now 100 by 5. Then what will be the output for c value? What will be the value of c? 20, right?
20.
100 by 5, 20. So here
20.
if
20.
I'm trying to print c value, then I'll be getting 20 for me. I'll be simply getting 20. Now, whenever I'm not giving here anything, then what will be the value for c? 100 by b. What is the b value?
0.
0.
0. So anything by 0 is what?
Undefined.
Undefined, right? So
Set.
undefined or infinitive, we can say like, so undefined. Anything by 0 is infinity. We can say we cannot define for that. So here in this particular place, compiler is not checking anything for me. Compiler is not throwing any exception for me. Compiler is allowing you to do your programming. Then what happened? I'll be saying here system.out.println of in main method. In main method, I'm trying to take system.out.println of in main method, and after that system.out.println of main method has completed. Main method completed. Now for me, main method completed message will come or not in my output? It will come or not? So
Uh,
you
No,
tell
no.
sir.
me. Huh?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. Any yes? Okay.
Not sure, Srikanth.
Okay, no problem. See,
I
yeah, no problem, Vijay. So the problem is I'm trying to take 100 in the A and I'll be taking B equal to 0. So anything by 0 is undefined. So whenever you are trying to write such kind of logics, then you will be getting a problem while running the program. So here, once you will be running the program, you will be getting that exception name called arithmetic exception. What is that exception name? Arithmetic exception. So you are dividing and it is giving some description for you. You are dividing by 0. You should not like that. You should not like that. You should not divide it by 0 anything. If you are dividing by 0 anything, then you will be getting arithmetic exceptions. Okay. So in line number what? This line number will be getting line number 10. You will be getting arithmetic exception. So you can say such kind of exceptions are unchecked. Compiler is not checking, then you can say unchecked. Compiler is not checking, right? So whatever compiler is not checking, then we can say those exceptions are called unchecked exceptions. So C equal to A by B, is compiler is checking or not? Not checking. So if it is not checking, unchecked. If any kind of logics or any kind of data compiler is checking, then you can say those are called checked exceptions. When compiler is not checking for you, then you can say those are called unchecked exception. So this is unchecked or checked? Unchecked. Yes, right?
Yes, sir.
And it is giving some description also. Why we are getting this exception? You are dividing by 0 in line number 10. So that is the reason you are getting some exception in line number 10. So you need to change that. You need to change that. Some value you need to give for the B. Or else, so we don't know. See, for example, there is a presentation screen. In the presentation screen, for example, you want to transfer some amount to your friend. So sometimes, right, sometimes, I mean, not only transferring money, if some scenarios there is a division, so in the division, instead of entering the amount, if you want to enter some 10 number, okay, but by mistake you missed one and you entered 0 and you submitted, then what happened? System should not allow to you enter 0, or else if you entered, your program should your program should handle that particular code, and it should show some pop-up like message. So there what we need to do means, whatever whatever we have, that problem statement, so whatever that problem statement we'll be considering as a prop I mean we need to handle that particular line of code, we need to handle it actually. This is the problematic code. That problematic code you need to handle. So how we can handle? By using try. See, just now we executed this program. So main method completed, right? Main method completed is not coming in the output, if you can see. So if I'm running this program, so main method completed is not coming, right? So if I want to get that main method completed, then what I need to do? So then here I need to do handle my code with the try catch blocks like this. Try catch. Okay. In the catch, you need to handle some exception. So exception is something like this. So I'll tell you what exactly you need to give in that. So for now, you can say, that.
సార్ ఎక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వస్తుందో అక్కడ నుంచి ట్రై బ్లాక్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుందా సార్?
So wherever the problematic code, so at that particular place you need to give the try block. So or else you can give for the total program as well. So it's your wish. So if I am giving for the total program, I mean a total method, right? For example, if I am giving try here, okay, and I'm not giving here, I will tell the problem. I will tell the problem. So for now you can give for total method and only for that particular line also you can give for now. But I will tell you
Okay, sir.
what will be the problem if I am giving total program. Okay.
Okay.
In this situation, I'm saying that it is in cache block, and we are saying that there is a problem with your data in cache block, and we are maintaining and we are mentioning that system.out.println of there is a problem with your data. Can you please recheck? Can you please recheck? So we are asking to check them. So we are not throwing any exception, and we are just giving some pop-up message like this, there is a problem with your data. Can you please recheck? We are asking them to check again. So once I am running the program, see, your things will be going to print. Your things will be going to print, but what we'll be getting means here I will be giving this system.out.println of C here only. So main method completed will come, but it will be giving some message like this. So if once I'm running this program, we are not getting any exception, but whatever the message, there is a problem with your data. Can you please recheck? There is a problem with your data. Can you please recheck? Like that we are getting, right? So what we can do by catching and catching the things and all, I will discuss with the try catch blocks related information more. So try means try means you will be keeping the problematic code. That means risky code. Okay. So the problematic code or risky code will be keeping in our try block, and we are handling the code in the catch block. Handling means we are not resolving again. We are not resolving again. We are intimating to the user whatever the problem you are getting, that problem you will be giving to the end user, right? So here there is a problem with your data. Can you please recheck? And main method completed we are getting here. Okay. So like that we can give that. But if you want to print exactly the problem, what I'm getting the problem means, you can just print e dot print stack trace. So what is print stack trace? I'll tell you. It will be taking some time to discuss more on this in print stack trace. Instead of system.out.println, you can directly take e dot print stack trace. Okay. So e dot print stack trace, what it will be doing means, if you remember, we discussed memory areas. What are the memory areas we discussed? Method area, heap area, stack area, PC registers, right? Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. So there is a area called stack. So what exactly the stack will do? What exactly the stack memory will do?
It's like threads information.
Okay, actually your main method is a thread, right? So
Yeah.
for each and every method, execution will be happening in the stack. So the thread means your main method is thread. So that main method thread is helping to execute each and every method. For example, I have 5 methods. Method 1, method 2, method 3, method 4, method 5. So once method 1 will be going to the stack area and it is executing and it is completing and it is coming from the stack. So again method 2 will go and it is executing and it is coming to the coming back. So like that, whatever that execution parts, that execution of each and every method will be happening in the stack. So your main method, that is your thread main method, will be going to execute in a stack area. So at that scenario, once you will be getting a problem, it will be going to terminate. If you are not handling, it will be going to abnormal terminate from the stack. So here what we are asking to the system means, we are asking why it is coming from the stack area. I want to print that particular stack trace. So I want to print the stack. I want to print the total stack for this particular information. So what it is printing was, while you are trying to do A by B, you are getting B is B is something like 0. So we are tracing that into the stack area. So now I'm printing that stack area like this. So you are getting arithmetic exception by 0. Okay. And it is saying that exception handling unchecked exceptions in Java line number 11. So still you are getting exceptions and it is giving some information to you, and your code will be going to normal termination or graceful termination of the program. Okay, so your program is graceful termination or not? Yes. Then what you need to realize it, you need to go here and you need to give b equal to 100 or b equal to 20 or 5, whatever you want to give, you can give there. Okay, so this is one type of arithmetic exception. I mean one type of unchecked exception, that is arithmetic exception. So here, can I give exception like this or can I give the specific exception also? Actually, we should give that particular specific exception only. So that is arithmetic exception we need to give here. So in real time, whatever the exception here, whatever the exception here, that particular exception you will be giving here. So then people are thinking, sir, how we will be knowing that which exception we want to give here? So that things will be coming based on the experience. So once you will be getting that problem, first you can give exception and execute the program. And in the program, what it is saying, you will be getting arithmetic exception. Take that arithmetic exception from the error page and you can come and give it in the cache block. So sometimes, right, based on the experience, we'll be knowing that, okay, for this particular data, this exception will come. So that you can think and you can give that particular exception in the catch block. So till we didn't discuss what is try and what is catch, I mean in with deeply. So if you have any problem, that problematic code you will be keeping in the try block. So once you will be getting a problem, you will be having a problem, it will be coming to the catch block, then catch block will be going to execute. So why we are keeping this try catch block inside your program means, why we are writing means we want to get graceful termination of the program.
Yes,
So
Putarnas.
yeah, so that is the reason we are keeping try catch blocks. So arithmetic exception is a checked or unchecked? It is a unchecked exception. Okay, so like that we'll be
Okay.
going to discuss some
సో
more
ఒకసారి ఆ
exception.
ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయరా సార్
Yep,
ఈ పర్టికులర్ ప్రోగ్రామ్?
yep. So I'm executing this particular program, and in main method 5 main method completed, we don't have any problem because you given b equal to 20, right? So whenever
సార్ బి
there is a
ఈక్వల్ టు
problem
20.
with the data,
ఓకే.
okay, so if I'm not giving b equal to 20, now it is 0. If I'm executing this thing, b equal to 0, right? 100 by 0. So line number 11, 100 by 0. So then from the problem, it will be going to the cache block. So it is printing the stack trace. So whatever the problem in the stack, there is a problem in the stack area and it is printing the trace, whatever the things. So and it is saying that in cache block. Here inside stack, it is giving one exception. That exception will be going to JVM. So what is that exception means? Already they defined, if there is such kind of data, if we are getting, it will be, you need to give to the arithmetic exception. From here, from the problem in the cache block, it will be calling the that particular exception. So arithmetic exception we are calling, and it is giving java.lang.arithmetic exception divided by 0 at line number, unchecked exception demo.java, that is for line number 11. So here what we can say, in catch block we are going, there is a problem with your data, can you please recheck? So main method completed we are getting. Okay, so any doubts for now?
ఇక్కడ క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్‌లో అర్థమెటిక్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అని మెన్షన్ చేసినప్పుడు అది ఎక్సెప్షన్ చూపెడుతుంది కదా సార్ ఇక్కడ? అంటే కన్సోల్‌లో?
Exactly. See, if
మరి
I'm using arithmetic exception or
ఎక్సెప్షన్ అయితే
exception,
నో,
anything,
ఇట్స్
exception is the
డజంట్
parent
మ్యాటర్.
of, yeah, tell me.
ఇట్ డజంట్ మ్యాటర్ కదా సార్. మెన్షన్ చేసినా చేయకపోయినా సేమ్ థింగే కదా మనకు కన్సోల్‌లో వస్తుంది.
Exactly. Console law, you will be getting the same thing, but you should know, right, which exception it is. So that is the reason
ఓహో!
we are giving exception.
ఓకే.
So exception if I am giving, you will be getting this one, arithmetic exception. For example, in the same code, I'll be having some other thing. So that is nothing but string. String is equal to null I'm taking. Okay. Now I'm trying to take is equal to, sorry. So I'm trying to print system.out.println of yes dot length. Okay. length I'm trying to take. So now it should be static.
Static.
Yeah. So is dot length. Now exception I'm giving. So now I will be keeping try and try catch block. Inside the try, I've written is dot length. So line number 13, you tell me what I will be getting in line number 13?
Null pointer exception,
Null
sir.
pointer exception. So
Yes, sir.
in line number 12, which exception we are getting?
Line number 12, arithmetic.
Arithmetic exception. So now,
Hmm.
can you find which exception we are getting by seeing the code?
No.
No, right? So at that scenario, you can write multiple catch blocks, multiple catch blocks. Okay. So one is for arithmetic exception and another one is for null pointer exception. Okay. So that is how for one try block, can I write multiple catch blocks means yes, you can write multiple catch blocks. Okay. So now here in this scenario, how many exceptions I will be getting?
2.
Two. Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers?
Uh, Multiple, Shrikant. Like we have
Mhm.
for string and we have one for arithmetic, right? Null pointer
Okay.
and this.
Okay. But what you need to understand here is once you will be getting the problem in line number 12. Okay. Anyway, I'll show the output, then you will be realizing that. So I'll be getting only one exception, that is arithmetic exception. Okay. Why? Why I'm not getting null pointer exception? So why means once you will be
Uh,
getting line number 12, once you are getting line number 12, C equal to A by B arithmetic exception. So once you will be getting exception, it will be going to the cache block. So once I'm going to the cache block, it will be taking care of these particular things and it will be never come to the try block. It will never come to the try block. Are you getting? So at that time,
yeah.
if you are writing multiple things in a try block, it will be executing only one problem. For example, b equal to 5 I'm taking. Okay. At that scenario, so c equal to 100 by 5, that means 20. 20 will be printing here. Now here, you will be getting null pointer exception. So this one I need to give after this. So, so yes dot length I'm getting. Now it is coming, now it is saying that uh, there is a problem with your string data, we can say. Okay. So now A by B, 100 by 5 means 20. It is printing 20. And yes means null. Null dot length means, again, compiler is checking anything for me here? No, right? Compiler is not checking anything for me here. So this is also a null. This is also a unchecked exception. So null pointer exception is also unchecked exception, we can say. Once I'm running this program, I'll be getting null pointer exception. And this is the problem. I mean, there is a problem with your string data. Can you please recheck? So main method completed. You got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So at a time, two exceptions it will be not giving if you are keeping everything in one try and catch block. Can I write multiple try catch blocks? Yes, you can write multiple try catch blocks. And so for this, I'll be writing one more try and that line of code I'll be keeping here. Okay. Here, I'm getting again, I'm giving 0. That is nothing but b equal to 0 I'm giving. So now in this case, try catch is separate for this a by b and try catch is separate for null pointer exception. Then what happen? We need to we'll be getting the things like this lang java.lang dot arithmetic exception, java.lang dot null pointer exception. So which one is recommended? So everything we can keep in one try catch block, or we need to keep multiple try catch block for multiple problematic statements. Means whenever you have multiple problematic statements, then you need to give then you need to give that particular things in multiple try catch blocks. You need to do in that way. So that will be the better option to do that. So this is what we can say is unchecked exceptions. And unchecked exceptions, I will discuss one more example with array index out of bounds exception by tomorrow. And I will try to complete that checked exceptions also by tomorrow. Okay. So unchecked exceptions are nothing but compiler is not checking for me if I have any data or logic problems in my code. So those are called unchecked exceptions. So here if you can see whatever we discussed, right? Runtime exception. Under runtime exceptions you will be having arithmetic exception. So if you can see arithmetic exception here. So again you can see null pointer exception here. This is the null pointer exception. So these two are also classes, predefined classes we can say. So you can go through these API ones and you will be trying to understand arithmetic exception. Who is the superclass? Runtime exception. Who is the superclass? Exception. Who is the superclass? Throwable. Who is the superclass? Finally, object. So like this, the chain will be going. So this arithmetic exception, you can say unchecked exception. All unchecked exceptions are runtime exceptions only. Here also the same. So you can go through and try to read this information about this null pointer exception and try to read this arithmetic exception information. Okay, then you'll get some idea about these things. Okay, so that is what unchecked exceptions for now. And you have any doubts here for now till now?
సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం మీరు చెప్పినట్టు ఒక ట్రై బ్లాక్కి ఒక క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్, సో ఇక్కడ అర్థమెటిక్ చూపించింది, ఇక్కడ నల్ పాయింటర్ చూపించింది. వెరాజ్ మీరు
Hmm.
ఒక ట్రై రాసి 2 క్యాచ్ పెట్టేసరికి సో మల్టిపుల్ ఉన్నా కానీ అది సింగిల్ మళ్ళీ ట్రైకి వెళ్ళలేదని చెప్పారు. ఒకవేళ 2 ట్రైస్ ఉండి 1 క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్ ఉంటే అట్ దట్ కేస్ ఏమవుతుంది సార్? సేమ్ సేమ్
Sorry,
యాజ్
sorry, sorry. Come again, come again.
కాదు సార్, జస్ట్ నౌ మీరు చెప్పినట్టు వన్ క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్, వన్ ట్రై బ్లాక్ ఉండి 2 క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్స్ ఉంటే మల్టిపుల్ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు 1 ఎక్సెప్షన్ మట్టుకే చూపించింది. దట్ ఈస్
One
అర్థమెటిక్ ఎక్సెప్షన్, రైట్?
exactly, exactly. Why
ఓకే సార్.
means?
ఒకవేళ
Hmm.
అర్థమైంది సార్, అది కూడా ఎందుకో అర్థమైంది. ఒకవేళ 2 ట్రై బ్లాక్స్ ఉండి 1 క్యాచ్ బ్లాక్ ఉంటే 2
Uh,
ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ మనకు కన్సోల్లో చూపెడుతుందా? అదే సార్
exactly.
డౌట్.
So the thing is, it is not possible for each and every try block. There must be a cache block. For each and every try block, there must be a one cache block. So for single
ఓకే.
try block, you can give multiple cache blocks, but multiple try blocks you cannot give cache blocks.
సింగిల్
So the
క్యాచ్
thing
బ్లాక్.
is,
ఓకే.
for try, there should be a catch. You need to give in
ఓకే
that way.
సార్.
Okay.
ఓకే.
So there
ఎస్
there
సార్.
will be multiple try means there should be multiple catches. So that is how it will be. So you got it right. So I'll be
ఎస్ సార్.
sharing this program to you guys. Okay. Yeah. Um.
Yes, sir.
So this is what for today's class, that is unchecked exceptions. So tomorrow we'll be going to discuss checked exceptions.